Hello and welcome to Channel Sports on Sunday. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos. Ken Ochodogo is in London. He's still not here yet. I don't know when he will be back. But it's a rainy Sunday in Lagos. Ken, what's happening over there? Is it rainy or sunny? Not just Ken that we have right there in London. We also have guests in the studio. Yemi Bakare is here. And, of course, Jimmy Ogulano is also here on the Sunday afternoon. I don't know how Yemi is actually feeling with Manchester City, winning the Champions League. That's the only thing Man United used to have over them. But right now, well, they've got it. Hi.
We typically call good afternoon, Sisi. Good afternoon, Jimmy. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, viewers. We typically call them the noisy neighbors. But over the years, I think they've been very, very dominant. And in fairness to them, congratulations to City.
What's their new name? Respected neighbors or respected neighbors? That will fly.
I think everything should just culminate in the fact that the City of Manchester now, we have two clubs from the City of Manchester that are on the map for good reasons.
Yemi should actually come in blue today, but he's coming in red. So I don't understand what it means.
The colors, I mean, you have red and
blue.
Red Devils, so he's actually symbolizing.
But I mean, he's supposed to celebrate with the citizens. He's supposed to celebrate with the citizens at this point in time, I think the United fans, the majority of them will not like the fact that, you are having this this treble, the treble, the hallowed treble, being shared by citizens at this point in time. But I mean, it's good to see. It's good to see. They struggled for the labored all through, and they've gotten it eventually. Good football all along. Maybe an ugly win, but at the end of the day, it's what it is. Guardiola has cemented his legacy. A whole lot of us actually do criticize him and feel maybe he's a checkbook master. But at the end of the day, what matters is the result, and he's gotten it. So what's there to say again?
Nobody should call him a checkbook master anymore. You can have all the money in the world. Ask PSG, and they will tell you about that. All right, let's start the show up with the Nigerian Football League Premiership, talking about the Super Six that is currently going on, the championship playoffs, to determine who will be the winners for this year. Talking about those that will go for the CAF Champions League, the CAF Confederations Cup, and also the team that will win it. Let's take a look at what the games for today. I mean, Rivers United and Enyimba will be in action. That is a decider, because whoever wins between two, having 8 points each, will be the winners of the league this season. If you can see that slide quickly, talking about the fixtures for today. Remo Stars and Benin Insurance will also be in action. Of course, Lobby Stars and Sunshine Stars will be in action. For Lobby Stars, Sunshine Stars, nothing really to play for. Just go on. Remo Stars and Benin Insurance is trying to that CAF Confederations Cup slots. And of course, Enyimba Rivers United, it will be that a Champions League sport. That's what they will be fighting for. I don't know if we can hear Ken Ochinogo now. I mean, when you look at Rivers United and you look at Enyimba, these two clubs, we know, yes, they are traditional clubs. When you look at these two clubs, you can say that, yes, they are the ones that are favorites for this title.
Yeah, it's looking that way now, being there on 8 points. But Remo is not too far off, because if they win convincingly and go to 9 points, then and the other two teams draw, then anything can still happen. So it is still where it is. But for Rivers United, being the defending champions, for the past few seasons, the defending champions have not been doing too well. You will see them finish 5th, 6th, and stuff. But here they are doing in their group. They came out very well, and then also in the Super Six, they stopped that unbeaten run of the beating Arsenal. So playing the people's elephant, and for Enyimba, I think they are not just looking at this. The only team, we're celebrating City now, but they are the only team that have won the champions, that they are the CAF champions before for Nigeria, back to back. That is where we belong. We don't belong to the local scene. This is just a stepping stone for us to go to the CAF Champions League. And today is a decider. I wish I would get to watch this. These are the kind of matches we should not miss. You have to be there to watch it. But then as it is, we just have to follow it from wherever we are. It is good for Nigerian football. They are big league. Left for me, CC and guys in the house. Leave their big league. It costs less money. It brings this Super 16 together that is like a carnival, and then we're not home or away. Everybody's going to neutral top to decide who the champion of Nigeria is. I think probably they should look at that before the IMC leaves, and then let's see what it is. But today, it is going to be a thriller at Omiko. If you miss it, Remo Rangers and Remo Insurance, the history they have coming back from when Remo got promotion in the lower league, and then coming, no. Today, when we drop the matches, everything is at stake today at Omiko. Everything is at stake.
Yeah, that's the way these are. I'll get reactions from, starting with Jimmy. Rivers United, defending champions against Enyimba. We saw what Enyimba did to Lobby Stars. When they cut them, according to the coach, Edith Ago, he said, no, not Edith Ago. So about that. When Benesh, I'm talking about Shooting Stars and Enyimba, So when they were cut, Edith Ago talking about that the team were a depleted side, so it wasn't a complete squad that Enyimba was facing. But Enyimba just didn't care. As early as third minute, you're having them on the score sheet. Before you know it was a 3-1.
Well, just now, like Ken did say, when you talk about Enyimba and Rivers, they've got to be two of the best sides. If you talk about Lobby's Sunshine, for example, you wouldn't say they have been consistent in the past 5 years, but they smuggle themselves inside this Super Six, and it's good to see Eddie Agoye actually lead them through. But when it is about Rivers and Enyimba, there is always that standard that is expected of them. So at the end of the day, what happens is you expect to see good football, you expect to see quality football, and beyond just quality football, that rivalry, there's been that rivalry over the past 2-3 years where they have been slugging out for continental places. So because of that, it's only just sensible to think that this decider, beyond what has happened or what could happen when Remo play Insurance, because they also have that one going. You remember when the deputy governor, just because of what happened, the decision that actually enabled Remo Stars to get into the Super Six. You remember that boardroom points were deducted, it was restored. There's still that controversy beyond that. Remo Stars, the chairman resigning from the IMC and all of that. But on the field, you also have a very fierce team. The fans, they're not going to have it easy with themselves, but that's what we love to see. We love the non-violence, but we want, that the competition on the field, off the field. They talk tough, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is we have a very, very good, representation from our teams. Because you look at it now, Rivers, they've been consistent over the course of the past 4-5 years. They've been very, very consistent. Enyimba, there are times you just feel, they are supposed to be the biggest in the land, they should be doing this. They may not be playing the fanciest of football, but some way, somehow, when they get to tournaments like this, they prove they are made up of stellar quality, they prove that mettle, and it will be fantastic to see that decider. They should not hand over the initiative to Remo or Insurance. If they play out a draw and Remo comprehensively defeats Insurance by 3 goals, or Insurance defeats Remo by 4 goals, then they may have handed the initiative to any of those two sides. But I feel that we've seen the best from Rivers and Enyimba.
Ben Insurance doesn't stand a chance. They've got 3 points from 4 games. Yeah,
they do.
They need to score 4.
Because Enyimba Rivers already have 8 points each. That's what the table is looking like.
If they play out,
it's going to be 9-9, and Enyimba are leading based on goal difference of 2.
Of 2.
Yes.
Now
we need to look at the team, because what I know is that if Remo comprehensively defeats Bendel Insurance by 3 goals and above.
Yes, they are on 6 points. Yeah, they will go to 9. So that's why Remo contenders, but Bendel Insurance, I think they are out.
Okay, no, Bendel Insurance is out.
So it's
they can only get
Remo
can only get the CAF slot. They cannot win. They cannot win.
At this point,
that's it. They cannot win.
But talking about Remo Stars, their football. Ken Ochinogo mentioned it just now about what Remo Stars have been doing this season. I've checked what they did to Rivers United, you know, that 2-2 draw, which was fantastic. What they did to Eimba and some other teams, what they've been doing, it's only then they now went on to at least they know they needed to win. And against Lobby Stars, they were there for the taking, and then they just took that. It was easy for them. But overall, for Remo Stars and Ben Insurance, will you say these two teams have actually, you know, I mean, how do I put it, this season, even if they don't get any slot, but we know, of course, one of them will definitely get a continental slot. But then, it hasn't been a successful season.
I think by whatever parameter that you want to measure it, it's been a fantastic season for both teams. Looking at where they're coming from, for a Benden Insurance to have gone through the season unbeaten, I even think the Super Six is the regular season. I even think the Super Six is a disservice to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
absolutely. Exactly. Imagine if the season had ended.
They're tired.
So they're tired and having gone through that rigors. But even Remo, Benden Insurance, for me, they are the how do I put it? The best thing for me this season. So for me, whether they get anything from the Super Six or not, they've given us beautiful football. They've showed us that, yes, in the Nigerian league, teams can go away from home and win. Team can go away from home, play good football, and come out of. And you can see the followership now from their fans and even people who really are not their fans. So for me, they are the revelations of this season.
And also Duma.
And I think they should just keep it up, build on what has been achieved this season. And just like Ken said, if we run their breed league for another 2-3 seasons for us to get it right, because there is no. When was the last time a Nigerian team performed excellently well on the continent? Okay. The CAF Champions League final is coming up.
And we're not there.
And we're not there. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, I think I'm talking about final when you can't even leave the group stage and get into the knockout stage of the Champions League. Ken, you know, he just mentioned Ben Insurance. Their unbeaten run is over. Rivers United made sure of that. They didn't play Rivers United during the regular season because they were not in the same group. But from what happened, you know, after that, it was Rivers United who ended that unbeaten run they were on. It ended 2-1, and the guy who kind of reduced the deficit, Divine Wanchuku, you know, he was called up to the Super Eagles squad for Rivers United. I mean, this season, they're telling everyone that, yes, they're really the team to beat. 26 games of beating run ending. Okay, I think Ken is not ready.
So for Divine Nwachukwu, I think it's one of the biggest revelations of even this Super Six, because beyond what he did, you know, during the regular season, he was always there playing in the midfield, ensuring that the likes of Saki and Imade were having regular supply, and it was also very imperious, you know, playing for Bendel Insurance, and the call-up has been justified. I saw a particular video of the coach, Pesero, you know, typing away.
No, he was furiously. All through, on the first day, he's been there. I've seen him.
And justifiably, you have a few of those players getting called up. Four from the local league, I think. And those are players that at least you are sure they have given. I mean, Nebube Duru, Victor Sochima, Olonleke Ojo, and also Divine Nwachukwu. Divine Nwachukwu used to be a member, actually the captain of the future Eagles way back on the 13, under 15, way back. He didn't make it. He didn't make it under 17, under 20, but now he's getting caught. Definitely. But that's another thing.
It was ill because the game Eimba played. He didn't play that game. He didn't play that game. He was injured.
Yes.
Not injured. I think he was ill. He wasn't. Yeah, he didn't play that game. So I'm not sure he's fit enough.
But
and then if you look at, before we discuss this Regos, let me take this out of the way. I know once you guys start, I won't have time for the women's final that is also taking place today. Not just the men's Super Six, also the women's Super Six is taking place today.
Why?
You need to ask CAF, who doesn't have a timetable for the women. I'm going to state that again. CAF do not have a timetable for women. Wow. That's the only reason why they won't inform federations of the different of the leagues across the world, across the continent, when they're supposed to end the league and when the playoffs is starting, and when now we don't even know when the Champions League is starting, but we know that the playoffs is starting in August. That's from the regional playoffs where WAFU B, WAFU A, and the others who play COSAFA and all that. Then will bring their champions to converge for the 8 teams that will be playing in the finals. We know it's going to be in August, but do we know when the final of the Women's Champions League? We don't even know. That's the finals where all the 8 teams will be playing. A lot of work has got to be done. So we need to wait for that. Now, there you have it. Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens will be contesting. It's going to be in Asaba, of course. Delta is hosting this year. Winners go home with a 10 million naira. And Bayelsa Queens happens to be the team that are the defending champions. They won their 2 games. It was Group A, Group A, and Group B. They won their 2 games, beating Rivers and also... and then for Delta Queens against Confluence they won, and then against Rivers it was a goal. Against Edo Queens it was goalless. So that's why the 3rd place will be between Confluence and Rivers before we have this Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens 4 p.m. today. So if you're in Asaba, you can go and support these ladies for today's finals. Of course, those in Lagos, you know where to be to go watch the finals. But I think there is a ticket right now, 1,000 and 2,000. That's what you have to pay to see lots and lots of football and entertainment today. Bayelsa Queens are in pole position to win. Just like Rivers United, they also... they were supposed to, but what happened between Bayelsa and Rivers Angels?
Now, you know what happens normally when you have teams like Rivers Angels, you start having this feeling, nostalgic feelings. Because Rivers Angels at the point in time was absolutely dominant. Dominant, unbeatable in Nigerian female football. But right now, you see that they are just around and about. But you see Bayelsa and also Delta. Also, Edo Queens. So it's good to see that we have more teams, competing for honors and not just your Rivers Angels.
And for me, that's the positive in all of this.
Definitely.
You don't want a particular team dominating for... So, yes, if they're good enough, let them dominate.
Okay, you don't want to become a farmers league.
Absolutely. But again, for the ladies, you want the competition to be really stiff, because whether you like it or not, we've not paid the required attention to women's football. And it's quite glaring, even at the CAF level.
It is shocking that whilst we are having our men gone for Super 6 title here, as in the National Championship playoffs in Lagos, we are having our ladies. So where exactly are you going to get attention? Driven.
That's why I said because, it wasn't supposed to start now. It was supposed to be 11th. It was shifted forward when CAF now said they need to submit lists by June 12th. So they needed to shift this thing forward 5 days earlier. So they're supposed to have finished the men's Super 6, and then they will start theirs. That was how it was supposed to be. We were thinking of how do we attend this and also that. But right now...
Cecilia, just last week, you were asking questions based on the fact that you are having our male players going out there within 48 hours, they're having to play 2 games.
This was worse. Robo played.
Even worse.
Robo played. Some of their players, about 5 of them that I know, were with the 4 Cornets who played the final of the WAFU B Girls Cup.
The likes of Sebastian Flourish, all of them. They're now having to come back.
Then they traveled back on Sunday. Then from Sunday, they had to go to Delta. They played game on Tuesday and Wednesday. That was for FC Robo. So they lost their 2 games, so you won't get it. Bayelsa, of course, I mean, as you said, the Sebastian Flourish was one of those teams that But the luck Bayelsa had at Delta and Delta also had is that they don't have too many young players that were there. But you had Edo Queens, you had FC Robo, who had most of their players there. And the head coach of Edo Queens happens to be the assistant coach of the 4 Cornets. So, I mean, how do you prepare your team? And while they were playing WAFU B, you send them messages that you've shifted it forward 5 days earlier. So how do you prepare a team?
It's hard.
So I think they need to do better, really, so that we don't come back here next year and start talking about how they can organize competitions to benefit the players and not just themselves, what suits them, but think of the players first before you fix a date for
Nigeria is not Yankee, where you say the female national team and the male national team, they are the same. You need to drive attention. You need to drive.
Remember when the FA Cup, Man City, Man United were playing, and they also have the Women's Champions League final. Some of the players were complaining.
Exactly.
Where is the attraction? But somehow, some people had to also tune in. I was trying to watch both side by side. Simply because I needed Asisat Oshola, you know, I just wanted to see what she would do. And that was, if Asisat wasn't playing, I'm not sure I would have watched her, you know. So that's the thing. So somehow, I think they need to think of scheduling and then do things right so we don't start comparing women and men. We know the men's game started a long time ago, investment, everything, the paparazzi, all of them, it's there.
Okay, you don't
so
want
the
to
women
say the
is trying.
The real deal.
No, I wouldn't say it's the real deal. Both are real deal. You know,
this is not tennis.
If we start this,
don't go there.
Okay, now, okay, let me tell you something. 2019.
It's a slippery slope. Don't go there.
2019.
We are pulling your legs.
2019, the World Cup, the Women's World Cup, and AFCON was going on. Which was the most watched?
The Women's World Cup.
Thank you very much. So it ends there. Okay. I don't know if Ken is ready now. These guys want to drag us to the super egos at least.
Absolutely.
I don't. Anyway, I'm enjoying what you guys are doing there, drawing attention to the female team. They have been the most dominant. They have been the most successful team, especially the Super Falcons of all national teams we have in this country.
Thank you.
So you can't take that away from them. Like you said, Bayelsa United are where Rivers United are. Let's see if any of the United or the two United can be united today by retaining their crown. But like you said, Delta Queens are at home. Asaba is their home. They are the home state hosting, so that also give them the home turf. But for these girls, wherever you are, I think they can give their best. But then a beautiful thing happening to Nigerian football and Nigerian sports at the moment that they can take the shine off there, but we can't take it away from what is happening today, guys. We can't take it away. And Novak Djokovic is going for number 23. Will he be the GOAT of all time? We can't take Pep away from Pep winning the treble, the only man in history to win trebles with two teams in Spain and in England. I tell you this, a lot is going on there. But then, like we say, will it be Rivers United or Eyimba? Can we get the fans be part of this show? They're itching. And we take it away from there. It's excitement today, I tell you. Denver Nuggets. Let me not forget that, Sissy. I mean, Sissy, you are really tennis buff. Yeah. And then, of course, everybody in the house are all tennis guys. But Denver Nuggets are trying to tell Miami Heat. Miami Heat, I remember when we celebrated Heat that time, Dwayne Wade and Nicole. Jimmy, you remember when Dwayne Wade was pouring champagne on his knees in this game, just give me, so I can get this team done. Yeah. You also remember that when they were in himself and LeBron Jones and the three big ones. But this time, the Heat are facing the Heat. They are 1-3 down. And in the history of the NBA, gentlemen, in the history of the NBA, only one team out of 36 have come back from a 1-3 down, to 12 at the NBA Finals. And that was the Cavs against the Golden State Warriors in 2016. So what is going to happen? Will the Heat come back or will it be Denver after 47 years picking their first NBA club? I mean, a lot is happening, guys. And let's see. Where are you guys in? Is Pep the greatest now? Is Pep the greatest coach in history? Or does he have to win the World Cup to be there? With Djokovic, Jimmy, your GOAT, as Djokovic, okay, the two players have already overtaken your GOAT. Is Djokovic win 23? What happens, guys? Let's see if our fans can join us and be part of this show today.
Yeah, if we can put it, the numbers will be on your screen shortly, so you can, give us a call and tell us, what you think about what Ken Ochinogo just talked about, the Nuggets or the Heat. Can the Heat actually make a comeback? 3-1 down. Jimmy Butler said they will not give up, they will continue. And Pep Guardiola, greatest manager in history, I wouldn't agree with that because Alex Ferguson is still there until he's doing as many as he can.
Even Ancelotti.
But of course, that's another great coach. Yes, he's among the greats, as young as he is.
Absolutely.
So he's been able to join those greats. So we can drop Jose Mourinho for now. But when you look at those three coaches, you understand what I'm talking about. 3 Champions League. That's a great one. Treble, 2 different leagues. He's the first man to do that.
Yeah.
Both different leagues, Spanish La Liga, and also as difficult as it is in England, he's been able to do that. So tell us what you think. Is it the greatest of all time, or is it just one of the great coaches that we have? Also, tennis, Djokovic and Ruud. When I saw that, Zero was out, I was looking at, okay, Ruud and Djokovic, I think it's going to be one way, except miracle happens, which, you know, it does all the time. You saw it against Muchova and, of course, Swiatek. So Swiatek who got it. I mean, that's a hat-trick, the French Open. Who has ever done that? I don't think so. Yeah. Kenny Henai, yeah, I don't think. 3? No, I think one has successfully defended. But 3 years, of course. I just mentioned word number 1, Igor Swiatek. I didn't talk about the men. And if you want to argue about that, the most Grand Slams ever won still belongs to a woman. So let's not go there. let's not go there. So we're talking about, so tell us what you think. So you have the numbers right there. You have the numbers right there. Call us and tell us what you think. While we're waiting for your calls, let's quickly talk about the Super Eagles. Let's look at the squad before we go on a break. We'll take a look at the squad, the players that were invited, and those, according to Ken Ochonogo, he said there are some players that are supposed to be there, but some of them are not there. We started off with goalkeepers. Adebayo, Adeleye,
fantastic goalkeeper of the year in Israel.
Right, in Israel. So, what is it? Victor Sochima, of course, we've seen what he's doing in Rivers. And, of course, Olorun Leke Ojo.
He's been around and about.
I think Pesero is actually doing something great right now. So, these are the goalkeepers. I love the fact that the regulars who used to be there, whether they are keeping or not, they've been out.
Yeah.
So, we have our defenders, William Troost-Ekong, of course, the regular, Kevin Bassey, Kevin Akpoguna. I don't know how he was this season.
I don't think
but Ebubeduru, of course, he's been fantastic.
Exactly.
Shemilogo Ajayi, of course, the same thing. Kenneth Omero, I didn't watch most of his games this season. So Zaidu Sanusi, he was there, but not as he did last season, was better than this season.
Bright
Osai, Samuel, great player, Fenerbahce. Then let's flip over to the midfielders. Alex Iwobi, of course, he was everywhere. Everton, they tried to avoid going on.
A single minute on
so he's been great. Joe Aribo, of course, he didn't have a fantastic season with Southampton. They went down. Divine Nwanchukwu, of course, we talked about him. 3 goals in 3 games for Benin Insurance when Imade Bullet, dried up. So he had to step up to score for the team. Wilfred Ndidi of Leicester, of course, he always made the squad.
Forgettable season.
He did. Frank Oyenka also, he had a good season with Brentford. Let's come to forwards where you're talking about Nigerian high school scorer could fit in. Now, take a look at these names. Who would you take out for Obioma? Tell me.
I would take Ahmed Musa for strategic reasons because at the end of the day...
He's a captain.
You don't have another one. I feel we are still running on sentiment.
But he doesn't play the same wing with your highest goal scorer. He's a winger.
Because what you are considering...
Because if you're looking at Obioma, you're going to look at Ademola Lookman, you're going to look at Victor Osimhen, you're going to Taiwo Awoni. These are the 3 players you can...
do like for like.
Oh, okay.
When you have a team like this, you do not need to...
Ahmed Musa's time in the Eagles is...
For me, it's long gone. A lot of people may not agree because of the fact that what it brings to the national team is similar to what Mikel Obi actually did bring. Beyond playing, he was the kind of captain, he had the charisma, led, very, very charitable.
And you don't think you need that in the dressing room?
At the end of the day, he's not going to be there forever, and he's not giving his best for the national team at this point in time.
In terms of
so you look at some other players like like Victor Boniface. He's done very well, scored 22 goals, 8 assists in 55 games. You look at Terry Murphy, wasn't included in this particular list. You look at Gift Orban.
Okay.
When exactly are you going to give these guys the opportunity to come express themselves? This is not exactly the biggest game. Maybe the Sierra Leoneans, which of them are really playing at the highest level?
Okay, what you're thinking, maybe we could have left the likes of Victor Osimhen to rest since we are playing against Sierra Leone. Is that what you're saying?
The likes of...
Because the names you're mentioning, I mean,
so
the names you're mentioning, they're all strikers. So how many strikers you don't want to bring there, apart from Ahmed Musa that you're dropping?
Pointed out, I think we must give it to Pesero for inviting at least 4 home-based players. And I'm sure...
So you will not put an Obioma?
So for me, looking at this particular lineup,
where will he play? That's what I asked you.
Who can he really?
Yeah, because of his position. Now we're looking at his position now. And someone also mentioned Imade. I'm like, Imade Osareko. I mean, these guys just started playing top-flight football.
So remember, has not just started playing top-flight football.
No, I'm not mentioning Obioma.
I'm saying for strategic national interest. When you are trying to protect your league, you need to have a quota. A quota in place. No, hold on.
Okay.
A quota in place to suggest that the best of the best in every department.
I ask you again, do we drop Ademola Lookman?
Why not?
Why not? At this time?
It doesn't really matter.
No,
look, we are not going to have...
Okay, you're saying because we are playing Sierra Leone. The angle I want to take it from for
because
you
we are playing Sierra Leone,
a lesser team, so to speak.
Exactly.
So we need to use at least good chance
have
to
everybody
play
for the Super Eagles.
Okay, now I get your point. All right.
That's understandable. But don't forget that, yes, it is still...
You want to protect your league, you are not using the best of the best.
When exactly a chance.
Look, this exactly happened when Junior Lukosa in 2018, we said the same thing.
Yeah, Junior Lukosa.
This is exactly what dampens the morale of the best players in the land when they are not having opportunities to play for the national team.
That's why we ask you, who should we drop for him?
I told you Ahmed Musa. Clearly, he may be the captain of the team. But we have also seen other people step in. Okay. William Trusecon can step in. He's not a must for the national team captain. We've seen national team captain not make it for games. Okay. So it's not, I mean, let's not make it look like it's a competition team list.
Okay. All right, let's listen to... Ken, maybe we can hear from you before we listen to former NFF President Pinnick talking about his administration, of course, giving advice to this current administration. Let's hear from you quickly on the names you feel should have been here and the names that should have been dropped, you know, to accommodate more home-based players or maybe other players playing across the world into the team of Jose Peseiro.
I think the guys in the studio, Yemi and Jimmy, have done justice to this. But like you say, you look at the opposition, and you also look at some people. Not be said, they will play that time that was this that came to play us at the
4-4. Yes, they forgot so easily.
So Jimmy, why you are looking at Minos? These Minos are no longer Minos. That is why there is a competition for the home-based players. You know, for CAF saying you can do the charm and you can do this. I think we can also be having friendlies with the home-based team. There is a way you can bring them up, give them competitiveness and exposure. On that. So to me, if you want to go to any competition at all, any game at all, you go with your best legs. You go over, they win. Then of course you can put them in the team. They come in after you are winning comfortably. They can come on. I think that is just it. There are no there is no set way. When they say this is how it needs to go. But then, like you said, you want to push your leg like Jimmy saying. There are ways international friendlies. You can organize them at any point in time. They can put them there and then bring as they are shining, as they are getting into that system. You bring them into the main team. But when you are going for CAF or FIFA competitions, take your best legs. I mean, and if you have them. The case of, remember, in the case of certain coaches taking some players who are up there, say, to motivate or to whatever it is, your best leg has to be fitness and form. To me, that has always been the case. You are fit and you are in form, you make the national team.
Mm-hmm. Simple, easy, fit and in form. And I said I didn't see Obioma playing for Eimba, on Friday, maybe,
maybe that was one of the reasons.
Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons that you are already back on that.
And also when Pinnick Georgia said, enough ice baths for the players to always be ready to play 48 hours in every game. But Eimba's got the biggest squad. All right, let's listen to former NFF President Pinnick talking about what he could have achieved during his administration and some of the things he didn't, what he could, and some of the things he couldn't do. And, of course, leaving the country better with young, talented players. I will give that to him because that actually happened, yeah. Do you think you left the Nigerian Football Federation better than it was when you came in?
You see, football administration is a continuum. That's what we should understand. Like I was reading a piece 2 days ago when they said, we are owing coaches, that the indebtedness of the coaches, Pinnick, it was Pinnick administration. But you see, during my own tenure, I did not say I inherited coaches. I inherited, is a continuum. Okay, what about their liabilities and their assets? The under-20 team is an asset. It's our asset. I inherited the under-17 team that won the World Cup from Nigeria. It's an asset. That's how it is. It's plus and minus. So people should understand that you don't just wake up and say you start criticizing. Do you understand? So when I read it, I mean, I took it as like a pinch of salt because we had a model. I'm not going to tell you that my key performance indicators was 100%, but everything I said I was going to do, I did in Nigerian football. I was going to raise revenue from 0% to 80%, I did. You cannot dispute that. It's captured in our detailed report. I was going to give Nigeria global recognition. I did. I was going to build relationship within the players, giving them the luxury and all the necessities. I did. I took Nigeria to the world. We took Nigeria. I don't want to use the word. You can imagine 2018 still, and we introduced this model of lifestyle jerseys globally. So on the pitch, we did not record some very good results, which is football. When you do your best, then you're allowed the rest. You can imagine when we were playing that day in Abuja, they scored a goal against a keeper. People thought I was looking at me, the Federation President. So that's the mentality we need to stop in Nigeria. If you inherit some assets, and those assets you inherited was as a result of we were sacrificing to pay players at that point, not paying coaches. And that's how you got on that some of these teams. So it's plus and minus, but kudos to the current administration. They've done well. The only thing I want to preach is harmony between the ministry and the NFF. If there is a very organic, a very sincere and honest harmony, trust me, Nigerian football will grow and glow, and the whole world will see it and appreciate it. There's always a friction, and it's not healthy.
All right. I mean, they actually need this, which is come together with the sports ministry and also the federation, and then we'll get better. But let's go on the break. When we come back, these guys will do justice to what he just talked about. All right. We have new sets of guests in the studio. Theophilus Agbola is here, and of course, Okpeyemi Ajala is also here in the studio. Good afternoon, guys.
Yeah, it's nice being here on a super Sunday, and also happy to be here with the happy Theo.
Yeah, he's really excited. Pep Guardiola, he's his best man. I know the reason.
Oh, good.
For that. Okay, I mean, I was arguing with Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy, and of course, before we were arguing about, the interview. Amaju Pinnick, when he was talking about some of the things. I know you guys listened to what he said. And what do you think, I mean, the non-payment of coaches and having sacrifice, paying players, instead of that, and then leaving, the federation almost 80%, 80% funded. And then, of course, the young stars he talked about also, this new administration is also inherited from his side. Yeah,
you know what happened when the golden goose that lays the golden egg, when it's picking up for maybe Christmas or Easter. Yeah. That means next year there will never be any golden egg anymore. So it's just as simple as that. So once you don't pay the protagonist and you think you are doing something else, I don't think it makes sense. Whether economic sense or social sense, it does not make sense. You cannot owe them because some people in the secretariat are getting paid in dollars when there is dollarization policy in this country. So it makes no sense.
What do you think?
Well, I stand by that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we know who the protagonists are, and what needs to be done, no matter how we come around and go left and right, trying to make it make sense. Pardon my words here, you really cannot defend something that are indefensible, no matter how you want to put it.
Okay. So let's leave it at that and, go to this one. Champions League final, when Jimmy was saying, no Nigerian in Champions League final, I'm like, you can't even make the knockout stage. But, Al Hadley, of course, and with Casablanca are the teams that will be contesting the finals of the CAF Champions League today. So you had the UEFA yesterday, of course, today is for Africa. I mean, you guys, which of these teams, Hadley, I think I'm tired of them winning the Champions League. Yes, Wydad is another team that we're surprised that they were able to, get this far. But then we're having a team, the Egyptian team, who the only thing they know how to do is win the CAF Champions League.
It's like Real Madrid.
Yeah. In
the UEFA Champions League. The thing is, when you know how to do something, you always strive to make sure you do better than any other person. Mm-hmm. Literally, nobody will come close to you. I think at the point they won like 3 times in a row. Yeah. At one point in time, as Al Ali. And yes, Wydad Casablanca, they are not foreign names when it comes to cups like this or cup finals like this. And it's because what is supposed to be done is being done, from recruitment to payment of players, making sure that they scout the best players around and about. And then, yes, you are trying to assess your opponents before you even play them. Whenever you are going into a game with Al Ali, you always know that ultimately, somehow, they are always the favourites. And you really cannot take it away from them. They are in a final again, deservedly so, because I think they are one of the, if not the best club side in the whole of Africa.
Al Ahly is no... Their rise, rapid rise, no rocket science.
At all.
There was a time they pull out from African competitions because they felt it makes no economic sense to them. They were spending more than they were getting, and then the buyers officiating. And recall, as at 1985, when Al Ahly took on Leventis United here in Lagos, Leventis won 1-0 after losing 2-0 in Cairo. As at that time, Zamalek had even won or gotten a couple of Champions League. Al Ahly had none. But from that with Copenhagen's Cup victory over Leventis, it became a different scenario. Al Ahly became this team that signs the best of coaches that even national teams in the world, not only in Africa, would not dare go in near. So they like the new Man City, who said, look, once we have the best coach, or one of the best, once we have one of the best, and of course Chelsea also did the same thing by starting Jose Mourinho, the special one. So I think aside from the administrative settings, they always rely on the best of the best, and this is what has either in or out. In where they got the South African coach the other time. So Mexican national team coaches are Italian, the best of Italian coaches, the best from the world of French football. So I think we cannot be surprised that they are always there. And of course, both in the league and in the Champions League, they're always there. But why that is more like a replay of last year's final.
Last year's final. The first leg ended 2-1, of course, in favor of Al Ahly, and it was a 2-1. And with that, we'll try to see if they can overturn that and also win it. Ken, before you drop your pen, it's height 1. But then Al Ahly already have the first law. They can actually defend and go ahead to win. But that will be hard because the Moroccan side will obviously want to have a say on this one.
Yes, there is this rivalry between Morocco and Egypt. Of course, even if sometimes it used to be between Tunisia and Egypt, Tunisian teams and Egypt, whatever it is, and they rip the chairs, whatever, anything that happens, be prepared for any eventualities when it does happen. But in this time, you have seen an Al Ahly team have played the final 15 times. 15 times the Al Ahly have been in the final, and they've won each 10 times. Without, on the other hand, have been in the final 5 times and won it 3. But then they are the opposite. They won it first time in 1992, while Al Ahly has been there since 1986. So a lot of the northern flavor, coming to play. The North African dominant, apart from TP Mazembe, they have won this trophy 5 times. Down south, it has been a kind of a northern birthright. The North Africans, the North Africans know how to do this. So basically, expect the best. We talked about the best in Europe yesterday. We are looking at the best in Africa today, and never count out Al Ahly when it comes to this particular trophy. But then we are saying we are the new kids on the block. Morocco, the time is football o'clock in Africa. It is Morocco o'clock. Morocco is ruling the waves in national, in club, in almost everything. But the old fox remains the old fox. Al Ahly. You remember when they went to South Africa to bring in the man who knows how to do it, and now they bring another coach again to come and do it. They say soldier go, soldier come. Barak remains the same. This Al Ahly, it doesn't really matter who is there. They go for the best, irrespective of tribe, color, or nationality, and that is what you still expect the best of football to be in that return leg.
All right, we know that Al Ahly, as you mentioned, 10 times they've won it. Without defending champions, they've won it 3 times. Can they retain the title that they won last season? We'll find out tonight, 8 p.m. That's when it will kick off, the second leg of the CAF Champions League. Okay, let's talk about the Europe. Let's talk about Europe, the UEFA Champions League. Of course, Manchester City are champions crowned. For the first time in their history, they have won the Champions League, and they can rub shoulders with the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea. Yes, it's their first title, but then they are becoming the second team to do the treble after Sir Alex Ferguson did that in 1999. Pep had done it before at Barcelona when he also won, the Spanish Super Cup. the Champions League and also the Spanish League. He was able to do that. First manager to be able to do that. He has won 3 Champions League now. Only Carlo Ancelotti has won 4. He has won 4. And, of course, that's a record for him. But let's listen to him, what this really means to him to be able to win this one for Manchester City, because this was what they needed.
How many clubs, just for not winning this competition, destroy the projects? And this club, the strong of this club is the non-winning. Not everyone say you have to win it, you have to win it. And the winning, they were there to continue to do it. And at the end, sport is like that. So sometimes looks like this competition this year, this final was written in the stars, because I will not confuse for the fact how happy I am, but at the same time, they could score. At the end, the goal, the chances they had it safe. If you go in extra time, you can lose the game. And now we'll be the same person, we will be the same team, we will be the same club. Today was our year, but in the past, don't do it. Of course, we are incredibly satisfied for something unique, the treble for this club.
It's unique. They wanted it. It was written in the stars, and right now he's got it. So, Ken, you're dropping your pen now?
Dropping my pen. Before I do that, I was joking. Before the finals, the great one, Sir Alex sent him a message, and he said it was a touching message. It was a Manchester message. It was a message. I've done it before. In 1999, it is your turn, Pep, to do it. And Pep said yes. That was what inspired him. That led him into there. And he said, yes, I did it because Pep has done it. The city of Manchester have now joined the city of Milan as the only 2 cities to produce multiple winners, of the Champions League. With this, as we look up to Djokovic becoming the GOAT, if the root does not give me root awakening, I drop my pen.
All right, see you again next Sunday. All right, we'll see if he will become the GOAT. Yeah, we got a GOAT already in tennis. Yeah, I know them. All right. A quick one on Pep Guardiola. He says it was written in the stars. Rodri scored that goal 66 minutes, and that was it. He mentioned the only cities that have 2 clubs that have won it. I'm looking at London. You have so many clubs in London. What's going on? That's why you have Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea. Yeah, so only Chelsea is only. When Arsenal they finish second this season, so maybe next season you can be looking at London.
When you talk about the only other city that won the conference,
the Champions League,
the Conference League, London, West Ham League.
Why are you doing
outside Rome is London.
We're talking about Champions League, not Conference League.
I think about Champions League. You're talking about Tottenham.
The Champions, the Conference is actually the 3rd tier of the European competition, not second.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you had the couple now score, Arsenal won it, Chelsea won it, so.
You're talking about Champions League.
But I think this year, because Pep, I always keep making reference to this great quotation by Sir Alex, who says 3 things to pray against in football: cards, injury, ill luck. And I think this final...
Cards, C-A-T.
Cards.
Okay, yeah.
Cards,
okay, cards.
Scholes and Keane never played the 99 final because of their cards against Juventus. Then injury, your best player could just be out.
When De Bruyne was taken out, my heart dropped.
It brought back deja vu moments for me.
Then when the ill luck, he just added Lukaku on 3 occasions.
3 occasions.
And that was what actually Pep was talking about, that he could have taken them to extra time and it could have been anybody's game. Remember the Europa Cup. Handball by Anthony Taylor was not seen. He never consulted the VAR, and of course, Mourinho lost out in his first final. So this guy has always been unlucky with English clubs. Tottenham took him out.
Liverpool.
Chelsea. So he has always been unlucky when in the Champions League. So for him this year, no English club there, and the ill luck.
And he was able to take out Real Madrid.
So because obviously they are like, even from last season, the best team. Forgets the streetwiseness of the street wisdom of Madrid. They were supposed to have taken this championship last year.
I think I also feel sorry for Italy as well, because 3 Italian teams made it into 3 finals this season, 3 European finals this season, and none of them
a hat-trick.
A hat-trick of failure.
No, but again, in the time past, the Italian were the only team to have won the 3 times.
Yes.
So I think you win some, you lose some. So that is it for them. But we cannot begrudge Pep, the best team in Europe, won the Champions League.
The best manager in Europe.
The best manager for this season.
Why are you so happy? Like the excitement is like the excitement from you.
The reason why it's like this. It's everybody knows that support Barca. Pep moved from Barca to Bayern, yes, and he got knocked out 3 semi-finals in a row by eventual winners, you know. And then he moved to Manchester City, and quite a number of people said, yes, with all the money you have and all of that, you see that you cannot replicate your past success in the English Premier League. And he was asked not too long ago that, okay, which is harder to win, the Champions League or the Premier League? And he said, I've won the Premier League 5 times. It has to be the Champions League. So it's like a huge chip has been taken off his shoulder, and right now he's ranking shoulders to the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, it's a record that only him holds in the Premier League. I think the next one we are going for is the Invincible record. Just hold on, that's what I say.
Okay, Invincible. Let's listen to Kevin De Bruyne and, of course, Manuel Akanji. These 2 stars were really remarkable all through the season. But then Kevin De Bruyne was taken out, and, you know, we felt, okay, no deja vu. But then Rodri came up and he was able to get that.
Well, it's what I've been fighting for many, many years, and, you know, it's incredible we've been able to achieve that with City. You know, it's the first one in the history of the club, so we'll always be associated in that way with the club, so it's really special.
It was an unbelievable feeling, and I was so happy, but I didn't want to celebrate too much because I knew we still had like 30 minutes to play or so. I don't know exactly when it happened, so I tried to control my emotions, but yeah, when I saw all the guys, I was so happy. We didn't have our best game, but in a final, that's all you need. You need to win the game, and we did that today, and that's what we need from Eddie. And I'm so happy. He did these saves, because otherwise he probably would go to overtime. And yeah, he was there for us. He had our back, and I'm really happy.
You know, when you join a club in your first season and you're winning the Champions League with them, you're winning 3 titles. Well, I'm sure he never expected this. Erling Haaland, you're going to... go ahead.
I was actually going to make reference to João Cancelo.
Okay, yeah.
He played in the Champions League for City at the start of the season.
Yeah.
The Premier League and the FA Cup. Does that mean he gets titles as well?
Yes.
No comments.
He was registered.
He was registered.
He was registered for the...
But then again, looking at Manuel Akanji and how he came into the team, and he somehow just slotted in. And it was, I think, Akanji, Julian Alvarez, and Erling Haaland joined Manchester City this season, and they sold Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, João Cancelo left, and Ronaldinho retired, and Raheem Sterling, whom actually has scored more goals for Pep Guardiola since he joined Manchester City. So he's found a way to balance the team,
the squad.
And then we've seen him multiple times this season playing 4 centre backs. You know, instead of using natural wing backs in the game. And then the evolution of John Stones this season has been nothing short but phenomenal, and he's been very, very impressive. Yeah, Iko Gundogan, everybody coming to the party. But at a point, I had jitters yesterday after KDB picked up that knock, and I was telling up not too long ago that is he having performance issues in the finals?
But again, Ceci, my joy with this victory for Man City is actually this. You know, by the time you bring the Roman Abramovich template and this template, I think the world would rather go for this template, because the Abramovich template was also bringing success, but not sustainable, so to speak. But with this template, if teams decide to go on this route, people will surely have that success, because it takes him like 6-7 seasons, and we can always see. I think for the past 3 seasons, they've been knocking, and people can actually see, and this is how football should be played. Okay,
so it simply means that when you have a coach who is winning all the trophy, but what you needed most is not coming. They should stick with him. And that's what City did. And, of course, it's finally giving them that holy grail that they so much wanted.
Yeah, and that is why, where is Di Matteo today?
Okay. All right, he won the Champions League for Chelsea for the first time, and then what happened? Okay, but we need to go on a break. When we come back, NBA, of course, will get our attention. Welcome back. Let's quickly touch down on what happened during the week. That's Messi heading to MLS. Everyone was thinking it was going to go to, you know, Etihad, going to Saudi Arabia because of the money and the fact that he was suspended for his club for 2 weeks simply because he went to Saudi Arabia for some commercial reasons. But at the end of the day, he says he was going to MLS, and that's where he will be playing his football next season. Just to remind you that the club, Inter Miami, they lost for the 6th time in a row. Yeah, they're at the bottom of the league right there in the US. We don't know if Messi can perform his magic. He's 35 now, and 620-something goes to Barcelona, 75 at PSG. That's the whole... Was he up to 75 at PSG? I think 75 appearances. I think the goals were not up to maybe 30-something. But he had 16 goals and 16 assists this season for PSG. Now he's heading there. Karim Benzema, of course, he was going to join Cristiano Ronaldo right there in Saudi Arabia. These big stars, I mean, all from La Liga, 2 moving to Saudi Arabia, and, of course, 1 going to Inter Miami. What do you guys think? Karim Benzema, I didn't see this coming because I thought he was going to stay. His contract will expire next season, right? Yeah. So he has 1 more. But Messi, of course, his contract, gone this June with PSG.
He's won 5 Champions Leagues. He's won the Ballon d'Or. He was this close to winning the World Cup. And looking at Karim Benzema, he's basically seen it all. He's done it all in Europe. 200 million a year. Net. Cecilia. 200 million
I
net.
hope your son will play football.
For 2 years. No, I don't have a daughter now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Once you get the boy, make sure he plays football, basketball.
She's turning 1 tomorrow, and I bought her gift already. I have boots, I have basketball, I have everything. See, it's Project Mbappe all the way.
No, but I think he made a sensible decision to Saudi Arabia. Because if you know the way players of Arab descent are projected in the Arab world, I think because what Messi will be to the Western world is not the same thing. Benzema will have been there, with all those the usual suspicion between the West and the Middle East. So this is more like his natural habitat. So it's not only a short-term project for him, but also after he leaves football, because his contribution, the young kids there, they see him as one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think he made a very sensible decision in going to the Middle East rather than
massive
to US or any. So both in the short term and long term, I think is a sensible decision for him.
Interesting. Presenting the Ballon d'Or, he wanted to the thousands of fans that actually came out to welcome him in his new club. Now, Messi's decision also is also after football is related, because if you check Inter Miami, the deal they have with Apple, and of course Adidas also another thing. So these guys already preparing for the future. How many seasons do you think Messi will, give to Inter Miami?
Messi is going to be 36 in a couple of days' time. And to a large extent, we've seen him, he's way past the peak of his powers. But if there's one thing Messi will bring to you, it's the commercial viability. Look at the number of... PSG lost about 1 million plus followers on Instagram, and Inter Miami have gained about nearly 1.5 or 2 million followers on their Instagram handle alone. David Beckham negotiated a similar deal when he moved to LA Galaxy in 2007, and he negotiated to own a franchise at literally cost very, very tiny piece, Exactly. Right now, then he ended up owning Inter Miami now for $25 million. To own an MLS franchise right now costs in the region within $500 million. And Lionel Messi is looking at ownership possibilities even after he's done. Let's not forget, United States are going to be hosting the World Cup in a couple of years' time alongside Mexico and Canada as well. So it's a very, very big one, for Lionel Messi. Who better to project football and the big game, than easily the greatest player of all time.
Is going to be at the next World Cup 2020.
He might not be, but if he decides to be, who will stop him?
He'll be there because how
old will he be then? 39.
No, it will be there because Argentines are going back to their past. They kept going back to Diego Maradona. And even Messi also left after he scored the couple of his Copa America misadventure until he was lured back to the team. So it will be there.
Okay.
He'll be there.
All right, all the best, Lionel Messi. I'm going to miss him, but I think all eyes will also be on MLS right now, just as eyes are going to Saudi Arabia. So English Premier League, big contenders. So we have to spread our tentacles and see how we can go across those leagues and report these guys to you every time they're making these big moves. Okay, let's wrap it up with the NBA, the playoffs. I mean, Ken mentioned already, the only team that have been able to do that, going 3-1 and coming, happens to be the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Golden State Warriors. Now you have a big boy, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. These guys are trying to make something possible. It will be the first time they will be winning the NBA championship. That's if they beat the Heat in the next game, which is Game 5. So they're just one game away from claiming their first NBA championship. They were able to dismantle the Miami Heat 108-95 in Game 4. Now, remember how the Nuggets were able, for the Nuggets, they returned to Denver they'll return to Denver in the best of in Game 5. Yeah. But then, if you're looking at a team who hasn't won in the history of, where you have this trophy, 56 years of their own history, they haven't won it. Nikola Jokic, proved to be like this guy. It's something else. 23 points and 10 rebounds again. When you're having supports coming from Jamal Murray and the other guys, so it seems he will just be the man to lead this for them.
Well, I've watched a couple of the games. I've followed the series, and so far so good. He's been, for me, alongside Jimmy Butler, one of them is going to definitely be the MVP of this. And ultimately, I saw what they did to the Lakers. It was a sweep. And a lot of people are saying, crazy. A lot of people are saying, would have rather had the Lakers probably play against them. But if you watch the way the Nuggets play, they are very, very compact. Somehow, defensively, you find it very difficult to get to their buckets. And Nikola Jokic is literally unmarkable. You really cannot take him out. No matter how you try to zone him out, he just gets it. Getting triple-doubles, double-doubles almost in every game. And he just shows you, and he has a very, very interesting support cast. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have literally had to do it almost alone for.
No, give it to Gabe Vincent.
Well, impressive.
These playoffs, it's been impressive.
But ultimately, you want to look at the big guys coming to the party, but it's not really been like that. And Nikola Jokic, two-time MVP, I think he's overdue. To
win. It's his first final. It's his first final.
Yes,
so
it will be a very, very impressive one for me. If he goes on to win it, I think they deserve it. And then let's see probably what happens.
Game 5, what's going to happen?
I think with their 3-1, the series as good as sewn up. So I think they are the new latest champion, just like Manchester City.
Already? All right. Let's see what's going to happen in Game 5. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for coming on the program. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a fantastic day.